Dr. Ryan stared out of the small spaceship window as Zephyr grew larger in view. The planet shimmered in shades of green and blue, with floating rivers that sparkled in the sunlight. Its forests glowed faintly, and strange shapes moved gently. Across the landscape, he had never seen a planet so alive, so vibrant, as a human doctor. Ryan was used to working with patients, not floating forests or glowing plants. But he felt a strange excitement. This planet promised discoveries unlike anything on Earth. The spaceship landed softly on a wide plateau near a city of tall, smooth buildings that seemed to flow like water. The city shimmered faintly, reflecting the sunlight in colors Ryan could not name. A group of Zephyr officials greeted him at the landing pad. They had tall, graceful bodies with soft blue skin and eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. Though their appearance was alien, Ryan noticed a calm intelligence in their expressions. "Welcome, human," said one of them, stepping forward. His voice was melodic and gentle. "I am Minister Vero. The royal family awaits your arrival. The princess is ill. We have heard of your skills, and the king hopes you can help." Ryan nodded, feeling a mix of honor and pressure. He had treated difficult cases on Earth, but this was different. This was not only an alien body, but a princess of an advanced civilization. "I will do my best," he said quietly. The officials guided him through the city, walking along streets that floated slightly above the ground. Strange creatures moved along with them, some carrying baskets of glowing fruit, others tending small gardens that hung in the air. Ryan could not help but marvel at the world around him. Everything seemed alive, breathing with energy, as if the planet itself was watching him. Finally, they reached the palace. It was immense, with towers that curved like waves and walls that reflected the colors of the sky. Ryan felt small as he walked through its doors. Inside, the halls were vast and silent, with soft light bouncing from smooth walls. He noticed murals showing Zephyr history, battles with unknown enemies, great explorers, and moments of peace with other planets. He wondered how humans would ever appear in such history, and whether his presence here could make a difference. Minister Vero led Ryan to a private chamber where the princess rested. "Princess Leora is awake but weak," he said. "She has a rare illness, and our healers have tried everything. None have succeeded. The king hopes your knowledge can save her life." Ryan took a deep breath and entered the room. Princess Leora lay on a floating bed, surrounded by a soft golden light that seemed to keep her warm. Her skin was pale compared to the usual glow of Zephyr citizens, and her breathing was shallow. Ryan could see the fear in her eyes, though they were filled with curiosity. She had never seen a human before. "Hello," Ryan said softly. He moved slowly so as not to frighten her. "I'm Dr. Ryan. I'm here to help you." The princess tilted her head slightly. She could not speak human words, but her eyes followed him carefully. Ryan noticed a faint energy pulse around her body, something he could not fully understand yet. He studied her carefully, checking her pulse and looking for signs of infection or weakness. "This is unusual," Ryan said quietly to himself. Her symptoms did not match anything he had learned in medical school or in his studies of alien biology. He needed more time to examine her fully. The Zephyr healers in the room watched him silently. They were skilled and proud, but clearly skeptical of a human doctor. One of them, a tall female healer named Sira, stepped forward. "Human knowledge is limited," she said. "Our princess is connected to our energy. If you do not understand it, you may do more harm than good." Ryan nodded. "I understand," he said, "but I will be careful. I will observe before I act. Please, let me examine her fully." Sira hesitated but stepped back. Ryan spent hours checking Leora's body, using both human techniques and the strange Zephyr instruments. He noticed that her vital energy was disrupted in a way that suggested a parasite or infection, but one that did not appear in any Zephyr records. As he worked, Ryan spoke softly to the princess, even though she could not understand his words. His voice was calm, steady, and kind. He knew that his presence alone could bring comfort. Leora's eyes slowly relaxed, and she stopped trembling. By nightfall, Ryan had gathered enough information to begin forming a treatment plan. He shared His observations with the healers. This is something new, he said. It is a parasite that affects the energy flow in her body. Your methods alone cannot remove it, but together, human and Zephyr medicine might succeed. The healers looked at each other, unsure. The king himself had been informed of Ryan's presence and his findings. The officials whispered quietly outside the chamber, debating whether a human could truly save their princess. Finally, Sarah nodded slowly. If your plan works, human, it will be the first time our knowledge and yours have combined. The princess's life depends on your courage and skill. Ryan felt a surge of determination. He knew the risk, but he also knew that saving a life was always worth it. He prepared the necessary medicines and instruments, carefully combining human and Zephyr techniques. He worked late into the night, studying Leora's responses and adjusting the treatment as needed. For the first time, Ryan felt a deep connection to this alien world. It was strange, unfamiliar, and full of wonder. But he also realized something important: the heart and mind of a human, combined with intelligence and care, could make a difference anywhere in the galaxy. As he finished his first day of observation, Ryan looked at the princess. She had not yet fully recovered, but there was hope in her eyes. Ryan whispered, "We will save you. I promise." Outside the chamber, the palace was quiet. The glowing rivers of Zephyr reflected the stars, and the forest shimmered softly in the night. Ryan knew that tomorrow would be even more challenging. The princess's life hung in the balance, and the eyes of an entire planet watched silently, waiting for a human doctor to do what no Zephyr healer could. That night, as Ryan prepared for rest, he felt a sense of purpose he had never known. He was far from Earth, surrounded by aliens and wonders, but he also knew one thing clearly: a human heart, brave and kind, could reach across worlds and make a difference. And he would not fail. The morning sun of Zephyr bathed the palace in soft green light. Dr. Ryan woke early, feeling both excitement and tension. Today would be his first full day treating Princess Leora. He had spent the night reviewing her symptoms and studying the strange Zephyr instruments. He knew that he had to act carefully. One wrong step could make her condition worse. When Ryan entered the princess's chamber, he found her awake. She had not moved much, but her eyes followed him as he walked closer. They were wide, curious, and cautious. Ryan smiled gently. He knew that building trust was as important as any medicine. "Good morning, princess," he said softly. "I'm here to help you today." Leora tilted her head slightly, a gesture of curiosity. She did not understand his words, but she could sense his calm and kind intentions. Ryan noticed how fragile she seemed, but also how intelligent her eyes were. She studied him carefully, as if trying to understand what kind of human he was. The palace healers, led by Sarah, watched silently. They were skilled and proud, but still unsure of a human's abilities. Sarah spoke softly to Ryan. "The princess has grown weaker overnight. Her energy flow is unstable. We are unsure if your methods will work." Ryan nodded. "I understand. That is why I will combine human medicine with your treatments. Together, we may succeed." He approached Leora's floating bed carefully and began his examination. He checked her pulse, her breathing, and the faint glow of energy around her body. He could see the parasite affecting her energy, a tiny shadow, moving in a way that disrupted her life force. It was invisible to normal Zephyr eyes, but Ryan could sense it through careful observation and concentration. "This is unusual," he said quietly. "Your energy system is very advanced, but this parasite is affecting it in ways I have seen in human medicine. We need to act carefully to remove it." The princess watched him closely, tilting her head and blinking slowly. Ryan reached out gently, placing his hand near hers without touching. He wanted her to feel safe. Slowly, she relaxed, and her small, trembling stopped. Sarah and the other healers whispered to each other, "The human is cautious. He does not rush. That is unusual." Ryan nodded again. "Rushing could hurt her. We must understand her body fully before any treatment." For several hours, Ryan studied Leora. He combined Zephyr energy readings with human medical instruments. He recorded every pulse, every reaction, every faint change in her skin glow. The princess began to respond. She leaned slightly toward him, curious about his tools and gestures. For the first time, Ryan felt that she trusted him. "I will begin. A small treatment today," Ryan said finally. "It is gentle, and it may give her strength. We will observe her reaction." Sarah watched closely. "Be careful, human. This is delicate work." Ryan nodded and prepared a small dose of medicine. It was a mixture of human herbs and Zephyrin energy extracts. He administered it slowly, speaking softly to the princess. She flinched slightly at first, but then remained calm. Ryan could feel her body responding. Her energy pulse became steadier. Leora's eyes brightened faintly. She moved her hand slightly toward Ryan, as if acknowledging him. He smiled gently and nodded. He knew this was a sign of trust. The princess understood in her own way that he was there to help, not to harm. By midday, Ryan noticed a small improvement. The parasite was less active, and her energy flow was beginning to stabilize. Sarah examined the readings and whispered to the other healers, "This is working. The human's method is helping her." Ryan spent the afternoon teaching the healers how to monitor the treatment. He explained in simple gestures and words how to combine Zephyrin energy medicine with human techniques. The healers listened carefully, slowly understanding that his knowledge complemented theirs. As evening approached, Ryan took a moment to speak to Leora directly. He placed his hand gently near hers and said softly, "You are strong. We will fight this together." She blinked and looked at him steadily, and Ryan felt a connection forming. It was not words that built it, but trust, care, and understanding. The palace seemed to notice the change. Guards whispered about the human who calmed the princess and helped her recover. Officials nodded to each other, seeing that Ryan's presence was more than just a novelty. He was making a real difference. That night, Ryan stayed by the princess's side as she slept. Her breathing was steadier, her energy flow more balanced. He reviewed his notes and planned the next day's treatment. He knew the parasite was still inside her, and complete recovery would take time. But he also knew that hope had returned. Before leaving the chamber, Ryan looked at Leora once more. She was resting peacefully, a small smile on her lips. "Tomorrow," he whispered, "we will be stronger. You will get better." Outside, the glowing rivers of Zephyr reflected the moonlight, and the forest shimmered softly. Ryan walked through the palace halls, feeling both awe and determination. He was far from Earth, in a world of strange creatures and advanced technology, but he had found a purpose greater than anything he had imagined. He would save this princess, and in doing so, he would show that a human mind, a human heart, and human courage could shine even on another world. As he prepared for the next day, Ryan felt a quiet excitement. The princess was not just a patient, she was a friend in need, and he was ready to give everything he had to help her recover. The next morning, Dr. Ryan returned to Princess Leora's chamber with renewed determination. The princess was awake and looking at him with a quiet curiosity. Her breathing was steadier than yesterday, and her faint glow seemed a little brighter. Ryan smiled gently, knowing that small progress was still progress. "Good morning, princess," he said softly. "How do you feel today?" Leora tilted her head and blinked slowly. She could not understand his words, but she sensed kindness in his voice. Ryan had learned that on Zephyr, gestures, tone, and patience could communicate as much as words. He reached out a hand slowly, and she allowed him to touch her wrist gently. Her energy pulse, though still weak, felt more stable. The palace healers entered the room, led by Sarah. Their expressions were serious. "Human," Sarah said. "Your treatment yesterday showed some effect, but the parasite is still inside her. It is very strong and resistant. Are you certain your methods will work?" Ryan nodded calmly. "I have a plan. It will require careful observation and patience. We cannot rush. If we act too quickly, it could harm her." Sarah frowned. "Patience is not enough. This parasite feeds on her energy. If it continues, it could be fatal. Our knowledge has not been enough. Will yours?" Ryan studied the princess carefully. He could sense the parasite within her energy flow faint, shadow-like disturbance. Its presence was unusual, unlike anything he had seen in humans or recorded in Zephyr medicine. It was clever and hidden, making it difficult to remove. He knew he needed a precise plan. I will need to combine your energy readings with human medicine, Ryan said. I believe this parasite is sensitive to a mix of treatments. Alone, it may resist. Together, we can control it. The healers exchanged uneasy glances. This is highly unusual, Sira whispered. No human has ever worked with Zephyr energy. Are you sure it is safe? Ryan nodded. I will be careful. I will observe her reaction closely. We start slowly and adjust as needed. He prepared the instruments and mixtures for the first stage of the treatment. The princess watched him, blinking curiously. She seemed to sense that he was careful and meant no harm. Ryan spoke softly, explaining each step with gentle gestures. Even though she could not understand his words, she followed his movements with interest. As he began the treatment, Ryan noticed the parasite's reaction. It pulsed faintly, resisting the changes in her energy. He adjusted the mixture carefully, using a combination of Zephyr energy harmonics and human herbal medicine. Slowly, the shadow within her pulse began to weaken, though it was not gone. This is clever, Ryan muttered. It knows how to survive. We must be patient and precise. Sira watched in silence, clearly impressed. She had never seen a human handle Zephyr energy so carefully. Ryan spent hours observing, noting the parasite's reactions, and adjusting the treatment. He explained each step to the healers, teaching them how to combine their knowledge with his own. Slowly, they began to understand. By afternoon, the princess's energy pulse was stronger. The parasite was still present, but it could no longer feed as freely. Leora moved her hand slightly, reaching toward Ryan as if acknowledging him. He smiled, knowing that trust and patience were as important as medicine. However, the challenge was not over. The parasite adapted quickly, hiding in energy pathways that Ryan had not yet treated. He realized that the final cure would require both ingenuity and courage. He called Sira aside. We will need to perform a more advanced procedure, he said quietly. It will require close monitoring and careful timing. Your knowledge of energy pathways will be crucial. Can I count on your help? Sira nodded slowly. We will help. The princess's life depends on it. That evening, Ryan prepared for the next stage. He combined the rarest Zephyr herbs with his human medicines and calibrated the energy instruments precisely. Every detail mattered. One small mistake could be disastrous. The palace was quiet, as if the world itself waited for the next step. Ryan spoke softly to Leora. We will be brave today. I will guide you. Trust me. She blinked slowly and focused on him, allowing the treatment to begin. Ryan worked carefully, observing her energy pulse at every moment. The parasite resisted, but he adjusted the instruments and the medicine with precision. Hours passed, and gradually, the shadow inside her began to shrink. The healers watched, silently, their skepticism turning to amazement. They had never seen such careful work from a human. The combination of human knowledge and Zephyr energy medicine was proving more powerful than they had imagined. Finally, late in the night, the parasite weakened enough to lose its hold on the princess. Leora's energy pulse glowed steadily. For the first time, she smiled faintly, a small but bright sign of recovery. Ryan allowed himself a quiet sigh of relief. Sira stepped forward. Human, you have done what no Zephyr healer could alone. The princess is stronger because of your skill and courage. Ryan shook his head gently. It is not only me. It is all of us working together. We combined our knowledge. That is why she is improving. Leora reached her hand toward Ryan, and he took it carefully. She looked into his eyes, and though she could not speak human words, he could feel her gratitude. It was a moment of connection, simple and pure, between human and alien. That night, as Ryan reviewed the day's progress, he realized something important. This challenge was not only about medicine or knowledge. It was about understanding, trust, and patience. The princess had allowed him to help because he had respected her and her people. That respect, combined with human intelligence, had made a difference outside the palace. Zephyr glowed softly under the stars. The floating rivers reflected the moonlight, and the forest shimmered in quiet motion. Ryan walked along a terrace, thinking about the journey ahead. The parasite was not gone yet, but they had gained the upper hand. He felt a sense of purpose he had never felt before. Tomorrow, he would continue the treatment. He would refine the medicine, strengthen the princess's energy, and finally remove the parasite completely. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment to reflect. A human could succeed in an alien world. A human heart, combined with courage and intelligence, could cross planets and save lives. Ryan returned to the princess's chamber one last time that night. Leora slept peacefully, her energy pulse steady and strong. He whispered softly, "Tomorrow we finish the fight. You will be well. I promise." He left the room quietly, knowing that the challenge was far from over, but confident that, together, they could overcome anything. The sun rose softly over Zephyr, casting gentle green and blue light across the palace. Dr. Ryan woke early, determined to continue the treatment for Princess Leora. He had spent the last night reviewing the energy readings and the parasite's behavior. For the first time, he felt a real sense of hope. The princess was responding to the combined human and Zephyr treatment. When Ryan entered her chamber, Leora was awake and looking at him with curiosity. Her faint glow had brightened slightly, and she moved her hand slowly toward him. Ryan smiled warmly. He knew that even small signs of trust were important. "Good morning, Princess," he said softly. "We continue today. I believe you will feel stronger." Leora blinked and focused on him. She did not speak, but her eyes showed understanding. Ryan reached her gently and placed his hand near hers, letting her sense his calm presence. Her energy pulse was steadier than yesterday, a clear sign of improvement. Sarah and the other healers watched quietly. Their skepticism from earlier days had begun to fade. They had seen the results and could not deny the human doctor's skill. "Her energy pulse is improving," Sarah whispered. "The combination is working." Ryan nodded. "Yes, but we must continue carefully. The parasite is still present, though weaker. We must prevent it from regaining strength." He prepared the treatment for the day, a precise combination of Zephyr energy medicine and human herbal extracts. He adjusted the instruments carefully and spoke to the princess in soft, reassuring tones. Even though she could not understand the words, she followed his movements, allowing him to work. As the treatment began, Ryan observed the parasite closely. It pulsed faintly, trying to resist the changes in her energy, but it was weaker than before. He adjusted the instruments and applied the medicine with gentle precision. The princess remained calm, her trust in him growing with each moment. Hours passed, and Ryan continued to monitor her reactions. Slowly, the shadow of the parasite shrank, unable to resist the careful combination of human and Zephyr methods. The healers leaned closer, amazed at the effectiveness of his work. They had never seen anything like it. By afternoon, the princess's energy pulse had become steady. She moved her hand slightly, reaching toward Ryan as if to acknowledge him. Ryan smiled gently. This small gesture was a sign of connection and trust. He knew that the treatment was beginning to truly succeed. Sarah stepped forward. "Human, you have done something extraordinary. Her energy is stable for the first time in days. She is responding to your care." Ryan shook his head. "It is not only me. We are working together. Your knowledge and skills have been essential. The princess is improving because we combined our efforts." Leora looked at him, her eyes bright and curious. She moved her hand slightly again, and Ryan took it gently. He felt the warmth and life returning to her body. It was a moment of success, a small but important victory. In the battle against the parasite, the palace noticed the change. Guards and officials whispered about the human doctor who had calmed the princess and brought hope back to her energy. Even the king was informed, though he had not yet seen Ryan in person. News spread that a human had achieved what no Zephyr healer could alone. Ryan spent the rest of the day refining the treatment. He explained to the healers how to monitor Leora's energy and how to apply the medicine safely. The healers listened carefully, their respect for the human growing. They began to understand that his methods, though different, were effective. As evening approached, Ryan spoke to the princess gently. You are stronger today. Tomorrow, we will continue and grow even stronger. Trust me. Leora blinked and looked at him steadily. She reached her hand toward him again, and Ryan took it. He felt a strong sense of connection. It was not words that built this trust, but care, patience, and understanding. That night, Ryan stayed near the princess as she rested. Her energy pulse was steady, her breathing calm. He reviewed the day's progress and planned for the next stage of treatment. The parasite was still present, but it was weak and losing its hold. Ryan knew that with careful work, they could remove it completely. He also realized something important. The success was not only in the treatment itself, but in the trust that had grown between him and the princess. She allowed him to help because she sensed his kindness and patience. That connection, Ryan knew, was as important as any medicine outside. Zephyr's glowing rivers reflected the stars, and the floating forest shimmered softly in the night. Ryan walked along a terrace, thinking about the progress they had made. The first success was a sign that humans could make a real difference, even on a planet so different from Earth. Tomorrow, the treatment would continue, and Ryan would focus on removing the parasite completely. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. They had won a small victory, and hope had returned to the princess and the palace. Before leaving the chamber, Ryan looked at Leora once more. She was resting peacefully, her energy steady. He whispered softly, tomorrow, we will be even stronger. You will be well. As he left the room, he felt a deep sense of purpose. He was far from Earth, in a world of strange and advanced beings, but he knew that human courage, intelligence, and care could shine anywhere. This first success was proof. Ryan returned to his quarters with a quiet smile. The path ahead was still difficult, but the first victory had given him confidence. Princess Leora was beginning to recover, and he was ready to face the challenges of the next day. The journey had only just begun, but hope was alive, and with hope, anything was possible. The next morning, Dr. Ryan entered Princess Leora's chamber with a careful determination. The princess was awake and looking at him with bright eyes. Her glow had grown stronger since the previous day, and her energy pulse was steady. Ryan smiled gently. The first success had given them hope, but the real challenge was still ahead. The parasite was still present, though much weaker. Today, he planned to bring it to an end. Good morning, Princess, Ryan said softly. Today we continue. We will work together to make you strong. Leora blinked and focused on him. She reached her hand slowly, a simple gesture of trust. Ryan placed his hand gently near hers. He knew that her cooperation was as important as any medicine. Her trust gave him confidence. Sira and the other healers stood nearby, observing quietly. Human, Sira said, your treatment has been effective. The princess is stronger, but the parasite may still resist. Are you ready for the next stage? Ryan nodded calmly. Yes, we will proceed carefully. I will combine the strongest methods from both human medicine and Zephyrin energy. We must act together to remove the parasite completely. He prepared the treatment with precision. The mixture of Zephyrin herbs and human medicine was carefully balanced, and the energy instruments were adjusted exactly. Every detail mattered. The parasite was clever and persistent, and one mistake could allow it to regain strength. As Ryan began the treatment, he observed the parasite carefully. It pulsed weakly, trying to hide in the energy pathways of the princess's body. He adjusted the instruments and applied the medicine with gentle care. Slowly, the shadow inside her began to shrink. The princess remained calm, trusting him completely. She moved her hand slightly toward him, allowing him to monitor her energy closely. Ryan felt a quiet satisfaction. This trust, combined with precise treatment, was the key to victory. Hours passed as Ryan worked tirelessly. He explained each step to the healers, teaching them how to support the treatment and monitor the princess's energy. Sira and the others listened carefully, learning from the human who had saved their princess. By midday, the parasite had weakened significantly. Its hold on the princess's energy was almost gone. Leora moved her hand slowly and reached toward Ryan again. Her glow had brightened, and her pulse was steady. Ryan smiled warmly. Sarah stepped forward, her voice filled with amazement. Human, you have done what no Zephyr healer has been able to do. The parasite is almost gone. The princess is responding completely. Ryan shook his head gently. It is not only me. We are working together. Your knowledge and skill have made this possible. The parasite has no chance because we combined our efforts. Leora looked at him with bright eyes, a faint smile on her face. Ryan felt a connection growing stronger with her, though they did not share the same language. Their understanding was clear. Trust, care, and patience had built a bond that medicine alone could not create. As the afternoon passed, Ryan refined the treatment further. He applied the final stage carefully, observing the princess's reactions at every moment. The parasite pulsed faintly one last time, then disappeared entirely. The energy flow in Leora's body was steady and strong. Free from the shadow that had caused her weakness, the healers watched in awe. Sarah whispered, "It is gone. The parasite is gone. The princess is completely well." Leora moved her hands and stretched slowly. She looked at Ryan, her glow brighter than ever. She reached toward him, and he took her hand gently. Her smile was soft but full of life. Ryan felt a deep sense of accomplishment. They had succeeded together. The palace celebrated quietly as news of the final cure spread. Guards, officials, and citizens whispered about the human doctor who had saved the princess. Even the king was informed of Ryan's success, though he had not yet met him personally. Ryan spent the rest of the day teaching the healers how to maintain Leora's health and prevent future problems. He showed them how human medicine could complement their energy techniques. The healers listened carefully, impressed by the effectiveness of the combined methods. That evening, Ryan spoke to the princess gently. "You are well now, princess. Your strength has returned. You will continue to grow stronger each day." Leora blinked and looked at him steadily. She reached her hand toward him again, a gesture of trust and gratitude. Ryan smiled warmly. He knew that their bond had grown beyond healer and patient. They had shared a journey together, and that connection would last. The palace was quiet as night fell. Ryan walked along a terrace, looking at Zephyr's glowing rivers and shimmering forests. The first success had given hope. The challenge had tested patience and skill. And now, the final cure had been achieved. He felt a deep sense of purpose and pride. A human had made a real difference on another world. Before returning to the princess's chamber, Ryan reflected on the journey. He had come as a stranger, far from Earth, in a world full of advanced beings and unfamiliar customs. Yet, through courage, intelligence, and care, he had saved a life. More than that, he had gained trust, respect, and friendship. When he entered the chamber one last time that evening, Leora was resting comfortably. Her energy pulse was strong, her glow steady, and her smile soft. Ryan whispered gently, "You are safe now. Tomorrow, you will feel even stronger." He left the room quietly, knowing that the hardest part of the challenge was over. The parasite was gone, the princess was well, and hope had returned to the palace. Zephyr was alive with quiet celebration. Ryan returned to his quarters, feeling a mixture of relief and satisfaction. The final cure had proven that humans could make a difference, even on a distant planet. Intelligence, courage, and kindness were universal tools, capable of crossing worlds. As he looked out at the glowing forests under the starlit sky, Ryan knew that the journey was far from over. There were still lessons to learn, bonds to strengthen, and trust to nurture. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of quiet pride. Princess Leora was well, and he had played a role in saving her life. The night was calm, and Zephyr glowed softly. Ryan felt a sense of connection to this planet and its people. A human heart, combined with care and determination, could shine even in the most unfamiliar world. And he knew that tomorrow, new challenges and new adventures would come, but they would face them together. The news of Princess Leora's recovery spread quickly through the palace. Dr. Ryan had worked tirelessly for days, combining human medicine with Zephyrin energy healing. The final cure had succeeded, the healers and palace officials whispered, in awe about the human who had saved the princess. Even the king had heard of Ryan's skill and courage. Early the next morning, Ryan was summoned to the royal audience chamber. He felt a mixture of pride and nervousness as he walked through the palace halls. Guards bowed as he passed, and officials stepped aside quietly. The walls shimmered with the colors of Zephyr's sunlight, and the air was filled with a soft hum of energy. It was an impressive place, and Ryan felt the weight of the moment when he entered the chamber. The king stood at the far end, tall and regal, with glowing blue skin and eyes that shone with wisdom. Princess Leora stood beside him, her energy bright and steady. Ryan bowed respectfully. "Dr. Ryan," the king said in a calm, melodic voice, "we have heard of your skill and courage. You have saved my daughter's life when all others could not. For that, I'm grateful." Ryan shook his head humbly. "Your Majesty, it was not only me. It was all of us working together. The healers and your people helped make this possible." The king smiled faintly. "True, but it was your knowledge, patience, and care that led to her recovery. You did not only heal her body, you earned her trust, which is more valuable than any medicine. For that reason, I wish to give you a reward that is unusual, but meaningful." Ryan felt a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. He had saved lives before, but he had never received a reward from an alien king. "Your Majesty, I am honored, but I do not seek reward. The princess's health is reward enough." The king stepped closer and held out a small, glowing artifact. It was delicate, shaped like a crystal, but it shimmered with soft colors that shifted like flowing water. Ryan reached out carefully to take it. "This artifact," the king explained, "is a gift of trust. It allows the bearer to communicate telepathically with anyone on Zephyr. It is rare and powerful. With it, you can understand and be understood, even without words. It is a symbol of respect and a connection to our world. I grant it to you. In gratitude for saving my daughter." Ryan took the artifact gently, amazed. He had never imagined such a reward. It was beautiful, yes, but more importantly, it connected him to Zephyr in a way he had never thought possible. He felt a warm pulse from the artifact, a subtle energy that made him aware of the princess and the people around him in a new way. Princess Leora stepped forward. Her eyes were bright, and she held out her small hands to present the artifact formally to Ryan. Though she could not speak his language, her actions communicated gratitude and trust. Ryan accepted it with a gentle nod and a smile. "Thank you," he said softly. "I will use it wisely." The king nodded. "I know you will. You have shown wisdom and courage. This artifact symbolizes our gratitude and our trust. Use it to learn from us and perhaps teach us in return." Ryan looked at the princess. She smiled faintly, a gesture of friendship and trust. For the first time, he felt that he was truly part of Zephyr, not just a visitor or a doctor, but a friend and ally. The human knowledge he had brought had made a difference, and now he held a connection to this world that would last. The palace healers gathered around. Sarah stepped forward and spoke quietly. "Human, we have learned much from you. Your patience and careful observation have taught us to see beyond our usual methods. This artifact will strengthen the connection between our knowledge and yours." Ryan nodded. "I will do my best. Together, we can continue to learn and help others." "This artifact is not just a gift, it is a responsibility," the king observed. Ryan closely. "Yes, it is both a gift and a responsibility. It allows you to communicate with our people, to share knowledge, and to help when needed. It also binds us in trust. Never forget that trust is as powerful as any medicine." Ryan carefully held the artifact. He could sense the subtle energy of Zephyr flowing through it. It was not overwhelming, but it made him feel aware of the people around him. He realized that this reward was unusual because it did more than honor him. It connected him to the lives he had touched and the world he had helped. Princess Leora reached out and touched his hand lightly. Ryan smiled and returned the gesture gently. The telepathic energy of the artifact gave him a faint sense of her gratitude and trust. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Words were not needed. The connection was clear and strong. The king spoke again. Dr. Ryan, you have shown that a human mind and heart can cross worlds and make a difference. This artifact symbolizes that connection. May it guide you, and may your courage and skill continue to inspire others. Ryan bowed humbly. Your Majesty, I'm honored beyond words. I will use this gift to learn, to help, and to honor the trust you have shown me. As he left the audience chamber, Ryan felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. The princess was well, the palace trusted him, and he now held a connection to Zephyra that went beyond medicine. The artifact was more than a tool. It was a symbol of friendship, respect, and shared knowledge. That evening, Ryan sat with Princess Leora and the healers, discussing her recovery and the lessons learned. The artifact allowed him to communicate subtle thoughts and feelings, creating a new level of understanding. They spoke of medicine, energy, and the future. Ryan realized that this reward would help him continue to contribute, not just as a doctor, but as a bridge between humans and Zephyrins. The palace was calm, glowing rivers reflecting starlight outside the windows. Ryan reflected on the journey that had brought him here. He had arrived as a stranger from another world, unsure if he could help. Now, he had saved a life, gained trust, and received a gift that connected him deeply to this planet. He understood that courage, patience, and care could cross worlds and build bonds stronger than any distance. As he prepared to rest that night, Ryan held the artifact carefully. He felt the soft pulse of energy and the connection it brought. Princess Leora slept nearby, her glow steady and bright. The healers worked quietly, learning from the human who had changed the course of the princess's life. Ryan realized that the unusual reward was perfect. It was not wealth or title, but a bond, a connection, and the ability to help in ways he had never imagined. He felt proud, not of his skill alone, but of the trust and friendship he had earned. Zephyr glowed softly under the stars, and Ryan knew that tomorrow, new challenges and discoveries awaited. But for now, he allowed himself a quiet satisfaction. The princess was well, the kingdom trusted him, and he held a reward that symbolized everything he had achieved. A human heart, combined with knowledge and kindness, had made a real difference on another world, and the unusual reward would remind him always of the power of trust and connection across worlds. The days after Princess Leora's recovery were calm but full of learning. Dr. Ryan had become a trusted presence in the palace. With the artifact the king had given him, he could communicate clearly with the princess, the healers, and even some of the officials. It was an unusual gift, but it allowed him to share ideas, knowledge, and observations more easily than words ever could. Ryan spent his mornings with Princess Leora, helping her regain full strength. Though she had recovered from the parasite, she had been weak for many days. Each exercise, each gentle movement, helped her energy grow stronger. Ryan encouraged her patiently, and she followed his guidance carefully. He noticed how quickly she learned, absorbing both human methods and Zephyrin practices with surprising skill. The healers watched and learned as well. Sarah and her team had begun to respect the human doctor deeply. They realized that Ryan's perspective, his patience, and his careful observation added something new to their knowledge. Zephyrin medicine had always been powerful, but combined with human methods, it had proven even more effective. One afternoon, the king requested a meeting with Ryan. He led him to a high terrace overlooking the palace gardens. Leora followed, quietly, her energy bright and steady. The king's expression was serious but kind. Dr. Ryan, the king said, "You have done more than heal my daughter. You have taught us, shown us new ways of thinking, and earned our trust. Your presence here is valuable, not just for your skill, but for your courage and understanding." Ryan bowed. "Your Majesty, I am grateful for your trust. I only wish to help, to learn, and to contribute in any way I can." The king nodded. "That is exactly why I wish for you to remain here, not as a visitor, but as an honored advisor to our healers and scientists. Your human knowledge and insight can help Zephyra in ways we have not imagined. Ryan felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had never expected to be asked to stay in a royal palace on another world, yet he knew that this was a chance to make a lasting impact. "I will do my best, Your Majesty," he said. Princess Leora stepped forward and held out her hand. Ryan smiled and took it gently, though she could not speak his language. The connection they shared through the artifact allowed him to feel her gratitude. She had regained her strength, and now their bond was stronger than ever. Over the next days, Ryan helped the healers refine their treatments, blending human medicine with Zephyran energy techniques. He showed them how careful observation, patience, and respect for the patient's condition could improve results. The healers listened carefully, realizing that humans had unique strengths that complemented their own. Ryan also explored Zephyra. He visited the glowing rivers, floated through the forests with the princess, and marveled at the technology that allowed the planet to thrive. Everything was different from Earth, yet he found ways to understand and connect. The artifact made communication seamless, allowing him to learn quickly and share insights that helped the people of Zephyra. One evening, as the sun set and the skies turned shades of green and gold, Ryan stood with the princess on a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. The air shimmered with soft energy, and the rivers below glowed like flowing light. "Princess," Ryan said, "you are strong now. You will continue to grow and learn. But today you can see how much progress you have made." Leora blinked and focused on him. She extended her hand, a gesture of gratitude and friendship. Ryan took it gently. Through the artifact, he felt her thoughts, a simple message of trust and thanks. He smiled warmly. That night, Ryan reflected on the journey that had brought him here. He had arrived on Zephyra as a stranger, unsure if he could help a world so different from his own. He had faced challenges, learned new ways of thinking, and combined human knowledge with alien wisdom. The result had been extraordinary. He had saved a life, earned trust, and gained a place among a people far from Earth. He realized that this was the essence of being human: courage, curiosity, intelligence, and compassion. No matter the world, no matter the species, these qualities could make a difference. He had proven that a human heart could bridge planets, heal wounds, and build connections that transcended language and culture. Over time, Ryan's role in the palace expanded. He continued to teach, to learn, and to help. He worked with healers, scientists, and even young students, showing them how careful observation, patience, and respect could improve life. The princess often accompanied him, her energy bright and her curiosity endless. Together, they explored new methods, tested ideas, and shared knowledge across worlds. The king visited Ryan often, observing the work and offering guidance. He treated Ryan not as an outsider, but as a trusted advisor and a valued friend. The artifact continued to deepen Ryan's understanding, allowing him to feel the thoughts and needs of the people around him. Months passed, and Ryan grew more confident in his place on Zephyra. He had faced a great challenge and succeeded. The princess was strong, the healers had learned new techniques, and the palace recognized the value of human knowledge. Ryan felt proud, not for himself, but for what had been achieved through trust, collaboration, and courage. One evening, as the twin moons of Zephyra rose in the sky, Ryan stood with the princess and the healers on a terrace overlooking the glowing forests. The rivers shimmered like liquid light, and the energy of the planet pulsed softly around them. "Dr. Ryan," Sarah said quietly, "you have changed our world. You have taught us that humans can make a real difference. We are grateful for your presence and your care." Ryan smiled gently. "I have learned as much from you as you have from me. Together, we have done something important. This is what makes us strong: cooperation, trust, and understanding." Princess Leora stepped forward, her eyes shining. She reached her hand toward Ryan. He took it gently, feeling the trust, gratitude, and friendship that had grown between them. Through the artifact, he sensed her thoughts clearly, a simple message of thanks, respect, and hope for the future, Ryan looked out at the glowing rivers, the floating forests, and the soft light of Zephyr. He realized that his journey had only just begun. There were more lives to touch, more knowledge to share, and more bonds to build. Yet he felt a deep satisfaction in what had been accomplished. A human had arrived on Zephyr and made a difference. A human had saved a life, earned trust, and gained a place among an alien people. And that human would continue to shine, using courage, intelligence, and care to make the world better. As the night deepened, Ryan stood quietly, feeling the energy of Zephyr around him. He had found a new home far from Earth, a place where his skills and heart mattered. He had faced challenges, earned trust, and discovered the power of connection across worlds. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had proven something extraordinary, that a human with courage, knowledge, and compassion could shine anywhere. The future was bright, full of possibilities, and Ryan knew he was ready. Princess Leora looked at him, smiling softly. Ryan returned the gesture, knowing that together they had created something lasting. A human doctor had saved an alien princess, and in doing so, had built a bridge between worlds. Zephyr glowed under the twin moons, peaceful and alive. The human heart had proven itself, and the story of trust, courage, and care would continue. Ryan felt the quiet satisfaction of a mission completed and the promise of adventures yet to come. He had earned his place, and in doing so, had shown the true power of being human.